Hello, I am a student director of the Name and Gender Change Workshop, a pro bono legal project founded at Berkeley Law School in December of 2016. The Name and Gender Change Workshop helps members of the transgender, non-binary, and gender non-conforming community update their government-issued identity documents to better reflect their name and gender. Since our founding, we've helped over 300 clients, providing a service for the community and experience for the law students that staff our clinics. The workshop is led by second and third year law students like myself and supervised by attorneys from the East Bay Community Law Center in Berkeley. This video is intended to provide information on how to update your identity documents yourself if your name change is part of a gender transition and you live in the state of California. If your name change is not part of a gender transition, or you do not live in the state of California, this process will look different for you. You can find more information about the process in other states at transequality.org/documents. This link is available in the description box. Even if you live in California, there are special circumstances which can change some of the information I'm about to mention, so please consider consulting with an attorney about your specific situation. Some special circumstances can include if you are under 18 years old, are not a U.S. citizen, are currently or formerly incarcerated, or if you are required to register as a sex offender. Please note that while this information has been reviewed by attorneys at the East Bay Community Law Center, this video is not legal advice. First, a little bit of an overview. The process to update identity documents can be complicated and confusing. It starts with getting a court order reflecting a name and/or gender change. Additionally, as of 2023, California now provides an option to get a court order for the issuance of a new marriage certificate and a new birth certificate for the petitioner's child. However, this court order does not automatically update the identity documents or grant new certificates. Each government agency that issues an identity document will require a separate application to change the information. Common identity documents to update are a driver's license, a social security card, a passport, birth certificate, or immigration documents. As you get started with this process, make a list of the identity documents you want to change and the agencies to which you'll have to apply. For instance, if you want to change your driver's license and your passport, but not your birth certificate, you'll need to submit paperwork to the DMV and the U.S. Passport Office. Unfortunately, each office has its own application process. You can find more information about those offices in the Transgender Law Center's ID Please California guide that you can access via a link in the description box. Please also note that if you are trying to change your name or gender on your immigration documents, this may require going in to be fingerprinted, which can trigger deportation proceedings. As such, it is best to consult with an immigration attorney before filing your petition. The first step is the court order. A court order is an official document from a judge that legally changes one's name and/or gender. The process starts with filling out a series of forms and then submitting them to the clerk of the court. There are 3 options here: just a name change, just a gender change, or both a name and gender change. Most people get a court order for both a name and a gender change, but most IDs, at least in California, and increasingly across the country depending on the form of identification, don't require a court order for a gender change. This means that someone wishing to update the gender marker only on their California's driver's license and California birth certificate need only sign a declaration under penalty of perjury stating what their gender is. A letter from a doctor is no longer needed for gender marker changes with California ID documents, the Social Security Administration, U.S. Passport Office, or U.S. immigration documents. More information for immigration documents is linked in the description. It's also important to note that California IDs and U.S. passports allow a non-binary X gender marker option, but the Social Security Administration and USCIS does not allow an X gender marker, so you will have to choose between male or female on those documents. However, this has been changing in recent years, and Social Security states that it is examining ways to provide an unspecified sex identification option in the future. There are different forms required depending on which of the three options you're pursuing: just a name change, just a gender change, or both a name and gender change. We have linked the form packets for each of these options in the description. Please note that some counties, such as Los Angeles, Monterey, Sacramento, and Santa Clara, have additional local forms that are required. The completed forms need to be taken to the county court along with a filing fee. That filing fee depends on the county. In most counties across the state, it's $435, while in San Francisco, it's $450. Fee waivers can be granted with applications if you qualify under one of these three criteria. 1. You receive means-tested public benefits such as food stamps, SSI, or Medi-Cal. 2. Your income is below a certain threshold. Or 3. You cannot afford to pay both basic needs and the filing fee. If you are interested in learning more about the fee waiver, jump to the next part of the video. The court will process the forms and will only schedule a hearing if someone protests or objects to the change, which is uncommon. We have not heard of that happening to adults in the community. Name changes that are part of one's gender transition, even if you are filing a name change only, do not need to be accompanied by an announcement in a newspaper. If all goes well, the court will provide notice that the court order is ready, typically within 6 to 8 weeks of filing. You'll want to get a few certified copies of the court order. If you are granted a fee waiver, you can get 3 certified copies for free. Otherwise, the cost is between $25 and $40 per copy, depending on the county. Our clients can usually get away with 2 to 3 certified copies, but note that when you update certain documents, such as your passport, the agency will hold onto the copy for several weeks while they process your application. So if you would like to get all of your identity documents changed right away, you might consider getting more certified copies. Once the court order is in hand, applying to each government agency to update the specific identity documents is the next step. The Transgender Law Center's ID Please California Guide can give you more information on each specific agency. We recommend that you start with the Social Security Administration first, since other agencies pull information from their databases, but passports, driver's licenses, birth certificates, and immigration documents can be done in any order after visiting SSA. I will now walk through the process of filling out the name and gender change paperwork, but please note that if you are doing just a name change or just a gender change, the forms will look slightly different. The first document we will review together is the CM-010. At the very top of the document is a box that appears on almost every page of the court forms with your identifying information. The first question you have to answer is your name. Generally, you would put your current full legal name, and if you have gone by any other names that are listed on any documents or records, you would write A/K/A followed by those other names. This is to ensure that those documents and records can be linked to your new legal name. We understand that it can be invalidating to have to file under your current legal name. For that reason, some people choose to write their desired legal name followed by an A/K/A and then their current legal name. However, this carries the risk of confusing the court and raising processing issues. Either way, folks should be consistent on every page of the document and make sure that their full, current legal name is included on all court forms. For example, if folks decide to use their preferred name followed by an AKA and then their legal name, then they should do that on all of their legal forms. Next is your address. If your residential and mailing addresses are different, we recommend listing whichever is most convenient for you. Then you will put your phone number and email down. Leave the section that says Attorney for blank. Where it says Superior Court of California, you will write the county you live in and the address for the courthouse. There is a link in the description box that can help you find your closest courthouse. Make sure all of the information in the box is the same on every single page. Finally, there are a few more boxes to check. You can see them highlighted on this page. Click Civil Unlimited, and then Other Petition Not Specified Above, Not Complex, Non-Monetary Relief, One Cause of Action, Not Class Action, and then fill in the date. At the bottom of the document, write the date and your current legal name and then sign on the right side. We will now be reviewing two documents that gather information about your requested name and gender change. The first is the NC-300 and the second is the NC-110. Turning to the NC-300, you'll see the same box at the top where you want to write your name the exact same way that you wrote it on the first document that we filled out. You should also check the two boxes that say and change of name and issuance of new certificates. Under question 1, write your current legal name and check the gender that you would like reflected on your documents. For question 3, you will generally leave the box unchecked. For question 4, you will check the box and finally write your desired legal name exactly as you want it, in the order of first, middle, and last. Check A1, B, and C. Turning to the next page of the document, you will once more see a box where you need to write your name. Again, write it precisely the way you wrote it on the first page of the document and on the last form. You can also leave the case number blank here. For question 5, if you are changing a California birth certificate for yourself or for your child, or are changing a California marriage certificate, check number 5. 5A is for your own birth certificate, 5B for your child's birth certificate, and 5C for your marriage certificate. If you are requesting a new birth certificate for your child or a new marriage certificate, you will have to attach another form, which is linked in the description. Check both of the boxes for each of the documents that apply. At the bottom, check the box corresponding to your gender identity. Date and legal name, and sign on the right side. You can leave the fields for attorney signature blank. We will now turn to document NC-110, which continues gathering the information that NC-300 started. Remember to note your name and case number at the top of the document exactly the same way you have been doing it so far. In the right-hand corner at the top of the document, note that this is attachment 1 of 1. For question 7, you will mark Self. Then, under B for sections 1 through 6, fill out the information as it applies to you. Section C is the reason for your requested name change. We recommend writing "better match for my identity" if that feels right to you. For section D, again, check Self. Review the declaration box. If you are in prison or jail or on parole, or if you are required to register as a sex offender, this is the place to note that. Finally, write the date and your legal name and sign at the bottom of the declaration and once again at the bottom of the document when you are ready to file the form. We are now going to fill out the final two documents that make up your packet for request of name and/or gender change. The first is the NC-125. Again, like I've been saying, be sure to make sure that the information at the top of the document is accurate and recorded exactly as it was written on your other documents. Under question 1, record your current legal name. Under the section that says present name, write your current legal name in box A and any AKAs you use in boxes B through C. Under where it says proposed name, write your desired name in box A. You do not need to write out your desired legal name for each AKA, but you can. You're in the home stretch. This is the final document you will fill out in order to change your name and/or gender if you are not also filing a fee waiver. At the top of the document, again, remember to record your name information the same way you've recorded it on your previous documents. For the rest of the first page, leave it blank because this is for the judge to fill out. On the next page, again at the top, you'll see the box that says petition of and case number. Fill those boxes out. For question 9, check your desired legal gender. For question 10, check and write your current legal name with AKAs. Under A, check and write your desired legal name. Under question 11, if you are seeking a new birth certificate for yourself, check these two boxes. Once you have completed all of these steps, please date and sign the document. At this point, you are done with the legal documents you need to change your name and gender. Congratulations! For this part of the video, I'll be diving into the details of the fee waiver process. Before we get started, I want to point out two things. First, the form we'll be walking through is the same fee waiver form used for many California court filings, so most of what we'll be talking about will apply for filings other than a name and gender change court order. Second, while this content has been reviewed by attorneys at the East Bay Community Law Center, this is not legal advice. So let's jump into the fee waiver process. California courts charge filing fees for legal filings, including for requesting a court-ordered name and gender marker change. The fee for filing a court-ordered name and gender change in California is around $435 to $450. Certified copies of the court order cost around $25 to $40 a copy. Fees for other court filings vary widely and can be found on the website for the Superior Court where people are filing. People who cannot afford the fee can file a fee waiver form. Here is what the California fee waiver form looks like. Let's start with the court name and the street address. Name and gender change court forms are filed with your county's Superior Court of California. For a list of court names and addresses, so you can find the best courthouse for you, please visit the link in the description box. Then you should fill out your county's name, the courthouse street address, and the courthouse branch name. Next is question 1, the name question. Make sure that your name is written exactly the same as on the other forms you are submitting. While the form says to write the case number at the top of any additional pages too, folks do not have access to their case number until they file. So we recommend that people write their case names instead. Case names are written, as you can see here, as in re current legal name in all capital letters with any AKAs following your current legal name. You can also write it as in re preferred name followed by A/K/A, your current legal name, if you would like to use your preferred name on your forms. For an example of what this would look like, you can refer to the description box again. For question 2, if you are currently unemployed, include your job title, the name of your employer, and your employer's address. For question 4, people who are filing for a court-ordered name and gender marker change should mark Superior Court. Question 5 asks about the applicant's eligibility for a fee waiver. There are 3 ways to qualify for a waiver of the filing fee. First, you would qualify for a fee waiver if you currently receive a means-tested benefit such as Medi-Cal, SSI, or food stamps. If you receive any of these benefits listed under Part A, all you need to do is mark down which one you receive and move on to question 6. While proof is not required, we often encourage folks who qualify under Part A to include a copy of their food stamp card or Medi-Cal card along with their fee waiver if they're able to do so. Folks who qualify under Part A do not need to fill out any questions on the second page. This is the simplest eligibility option. We found that some folks at the workshop who are, for example, not on food stamps currently because of a temporary job, but will be receiving food stamps once that job ends, just choose to wait until they're getting food stamps to submit their forms. Turning now to the part about gross monthly household income. If someone doesn't receive any means-tested benefits, they may still qualify for a fee waiver under Part B if their income is under a certain threshold. So, Part B asks specifically about gross monthly household income. Gross income is someone's total amount of income before any paycheck or business deductions are taken out, as opposed to net income, which is the money someone actually receives each month after those deductions are taken out. But exactly whose gross income should be included? Who counts as part of a single household? Folks count as from the same household if they live with one another and support one another financially. At the workshop, a lot of people ask us if their roommates are part of their household, and the answer is that depends. If someone lives with a roommate and both roommates pay their share of the rent and don't pay for each other's living expenses, then they are not in the same household. But if someone lives with a roommate and one of the roommates covers all of the other roommates' food expenses, then they are in the same household. Once folks figure out exactly who is in their household, they need to total up everyone's gross monthly income and then check if that amount is under the threshold for their household size. Students should remember that student loans do not count as income. If the income is under the threshold for the household size, they simply check the box on Part B and answer questions 7, 8, and 9 only on the second page. These questions ask for gross household income details. Third, if someone neither receives any means-tested benefits nor meets the income threshold, they may still qualify for a fee waiver if they cannot afford to pay both their basic necessities and the court filing fee. Many of our clients at the workshop fall under this category because of the incredibly high rents in the Bay Area. People who fall into this third option need to check the box on Part C and the box that says waive all court fees and costs, and then answer all of the questions on the second page. After people list their gross income in questions 7, 8, and 9, question 10 asks for a list of your money and property. Only fill out this part of the form if you checked 5C. Here, the court is trying to figure out if people have things they could sell or money they could access to pay this fee. Assets the court wants to know about include any money people have in their checking or savings accounts and any valuable property that they own, like a house or a car. If folks own something like a house or a car that they bought using a loan and are still making monthly payments, they should include the total amount they still need to pay off where indicated on the form. If people have money saved up for specific necessities, like transitional living care that isn't covered by insurance, for example, they can explain it by attaching an extra form discussed later on, or wait to file until that money has been spent on that need. Question 11 asks about your monthly deductions and expenses. Again, only fill out this part of the form if you checked 5C. After someone lists their household income and assets, question 11 asks them to list all of their monthly expenses. Part A asks folks to list all of their monthly deductions. For employees, deductions are taken out of paychecks automatically and can be found listed on pay stubs. People who are self-employed should list all of their business deductions here. The rest of question 11 is less straightforward. It asks folks to list all of their monthly expenses, which is not an easy task. We found that clients often underestimate their monthly expenses at first. To avoid this, we encourage clients to brainstorm larger expenses that they don't have every month, and then include them by dividing them out into what they would cost them if they paid that bill every month. For example, if folks pay about $600 in car insurance every 6 months, they should include that as $100 per month as an expense. The closer people's expenses are to their household income, the more likely they are to be granted a fee waiver. So folks often spend a good chunk of time really thinking through all of their monthly expenses here. Additionally, people filling out this form should be sure to include all medical expenses, like the monthly cost of medical insurance, any co-pays for doctor's appointments, out-of-pocket expenses for prescription medication, and buying prescription eyeglasses. Finally, people who check question 5, part C, need to total their expenses and deductions at the bottom of question 11. Folks often attach another sheet of paper if they need more space to fully describe their financial situation, or if they want to include evidence of their expenses to help strengthen their fee waiver. Including evidence can be particularly helpful for any larger expenses that might seem unusual to the court. People who are attaching more information or evidence need to check the box in the bottom left-hand corner of the second page and write financial information at the top of any additional pages. Once someone has completed question 5 and the second page, if applicable, they still need to answer question 6 and date and sign at the bottom of page 1. Most counties also want folks to fill out Form FW-003 and submit it along with their fee waiver. Note that as of the publication of this video, Alameda County does not require this additional form. Form FW-003 is where the court will state whether or not it decided to grant the fee waiver. It's much easier to fill out than the fee waiver itself because the court answers most of the questions. There is a link to this form in the video description below. Note that unless you have an attorney, you just need to fill out question 1, where the form requests the court name, street address, and the case name. The rest is for the court to complete, so do not fill it out. The final step is to submit the fee waiver to the court along with Form FW-003 and the request for a name and gender change court order. Here, there are 3 possible outcomes. First, your fee waiver will be approved. Second, the fee waiver will be denied. Or third, the court will decide that the fee waiver form did not provide enough information for them to approve or deny, and they will schedule an in-person hearing to make a decision about the fee waiver. If folks submit their fee waiver form in person, the court clerk they talk to will likely approve, deny, or decide that a hearing is necessary on the spot. If folks do not submit their fee waiver form in person and the fee waiver is approved, the court will let them know they were approved in a variety of different ways depending on what county they're in, some of which can be quite confusing. For example, some counties just send a copy of the file paperwork without any forms specifically stating that the fee waiver was approved. Other counties don't send any response to the original filing if the fee waiver was approved, and just send folks a name and gender court order granted by the judge after a few months. If folks do not submit in person and the fee waiver is denied, or the court decides a hearing is necessary, they will be mailed the denial form or a hearing notice. One more final note on the in-person hearings. We find that these hearings are always inconvenient and are sometimes really traumatic for clients. We always encourage folks to provide as much information as possible along with the fee waiver to ensure that they get approved without a hearing. That is the end of our name and gender change court form and fee waiver video. We hope that it was helpful for you. This is a very confusing process. Folks who are filing name and gender change court orders in California and have questions can contact the Name and Gender Change Workshop at the email listed in the video description below. Additionally, all of the links I have mentioned are located in the description box below. Thank you for watching. Note